Imagine, which means to stand. Upon y'all go down, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to begin with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayah, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayu, Nathanawa, Nakam, Call Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawatinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Manasai 1, Abal, Hawashai Mayan, Raikaya, Laka, Hamalagwa, Waha'ala, Wathal Parath, La'aiwalamyu. Amen. In the English, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. The power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ukushah, Nathan Hakat, Hakat Larapa'ah, Kal Maka'ala, Wakal Madawa, Hakat Latahar, Hamatazariah, Hakat Lakwayam, Hamathium, Hakat Arakawa, Hatama'ala, Lagar Shun, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Wad Amun. In the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power, the power to heal all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, in the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahaharya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'an, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al-Yathan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Al-Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashun, Shalmar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yah, Yamyinka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarak, Malayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Rai, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'atka, Wabah, Wa'aka, Ma'aitha, Wa'ai, Awalam. In the English, Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasha'ala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalms 83rd chapter in the Hebrew. Alahayo, Aldama Yalaka, Al Thakarash, Al Thashakwat, Al Kayahana, Awa Yabuka, Yahamaya 1, Ra'ash, Al Imaka, Ya'ara Yamwa, Sawada, Wayatha, Ya'itazawa, Al Tazapawanyaka, Amarwa, Lakawa, Wanakakidam, Magalia, Wala'a, Yazakar, Sham Yasha'ala, Awada, Kaya, Nawa'itazawa, Laba, Yakadwa, Auyaka, Barya, Yakarathwa, Ahauya, Adawam, Wayashamai Aliyah, Mawa'aba, Wahagarya, Gabal, Wa'ima 1, Wa'ima Lak, Palashah, I'm Yeshabya, Tazawar, Gam Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawai, Labanya Lawat, Salah, Ashalaham, Kamadya, Kasaya Sara'a, Kayabyan, Banakal, Kwayashwan, Nashamagwa, Ba'ayan, Da'arab, Hayawa, Daman, La'adama, Shayathamwa, Nada, Yamawa, Ka'irab, Wakaza Abu, Wakaza Bak, Wakatazal, Mana'ai, Call, Nasaya, Kamwa, Ashar, Amarwa, Nairashah, Lanawa, Ath, Na'awat, Alahaya, Shayathamwa, Kagalgala, Kakwash, Lapanya Raka, Ka'ash, Taba'ira, Ya'ira, Wakala Habab, Thalahat, Haryam, Khan, Tharadapma, Masa'iraka, Wabasa, Wapathka, Tabahalam, Mala'a, Payaham, Kualawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wayabahawa, Adya'ai, Wayakaparwa, Wayabadwa, Wayadaiwa, Kayatha, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Al-Yawan, Al-Kal, Ha'aratazah. Psalms 83rd chapter in English. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo,
thine
enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
Come,
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
That the name of Yasha'Allah
That the name of Yasha'Allah
may be no more
may
remembrance.
be no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites
Of Moab.
Of Moab.
And the Agarenes.
And the Hagarenes.
Gabal.
Gabal.
And Ammon.
And Ammon.
And Amalek.
And Amalek.
The Philistines.
The Philistines.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
Assur also was joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of Kasan.
At the brook of Kasan.
Which perished that endured.
Which perished that endured.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like a red.
Make their nobles like a red.
And like Ze'eb.
And like Ze'eb.
Yea.
Yea.
All their princes as Abab.
All their princes as Abab.
And as Almunah.
And as Almunah.
Who said,
Let
let us take to ourselves
us take to ourselves
the houses of Yahweh
the houses of Yahweh
in possession.
in possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the stumble before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may see thy name.
That they may see thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
That men may know that thou,
That men may know that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
are the most high over all the earth.
art the most high over all the earth.
The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Why Yahweh Shai.
Why Yahweh Shai.
Why Mayaka Allah.
Why Mayaka Allah.
Why Alahayim.
Why Alahayim.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawab Yohana.
Alawab Yohana.
Ha'alawapyim.
Ha'alawab.
Hasaranyim.
Hasaranyim.
Hakwatazayanyim.
Hakwatazayanyim.
Hakaya Yalyim.
Hakaya Yalyim.
Wahagwathim.
Wahagwathim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
The word Amen.
The word Amen.
In the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yohana.
Commanding General Yohana.
The generals.
The general.
The captains.
The captain.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it.
Sorry, while you're shouting, you can turn and be seated. All right. We're going to begin with Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, first 7 verses in the Hebrew. Beginning at verse 1. Where the bar Yahweh al Mashah la Amar, the bar al Banya Yasha Allah, wa Martha Alaham, Mawa Idea Yahweh Ashar, the Kwarawa, Atham, Makwar Ya, Kodash Allah, Ham, Mawa Idea, verse 3. Shashath Yamayam, the Aisha, Malaka, Wabayawam, Hashab Ya'ai, Shabbath 1, Makwara, Kodash, Call, Mala'aka, La'a, the Aishawa, Shabbath, Hawa'ah, La Yahweh, Bakal, Mawa Shabbath Yakam, verse 4, Allah, Mawa Ida Yahweh, Makwara Yah, Kodash, Ashar, Thakwara Wa, Atham, Bamawa Ida, verse 5, Bakadash, Hara'ash 1, Ba'arabai, Ashar, Lakadash, Bayan, Ha'irab Yum, Pasak, La Yahweh, verse 6, Wabaka, like it's like it, Wabaka Mashah, Ashar, Yawam, Lakadash, Hazaha, Haga, Hamatazawath, La Yahweh, Shabaitha, Yamayam, it's like Matazawath, it's like Ta'akawa, verse 7, Bayawam, Hara'ash 1, Makorah, Kodash, Yahaya, Lakam, Kal, Mala'akath, it's like Mala'aktha, Abudah, La'a, Ha'ashawar. All right, that was verses 1 through 7. We get those in the English Bible show.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, Concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. Verse 7. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
All right, we're going to read the next 7 verses in the Hebrew. So verses 8 through 14, beginning with verse 8. Wahakwar bath ma, Ashar, La Yahweh, Shabaitha, Yamayam, Bayawam, Hashabayai, Makwar, it's like a Makorah, Kodash, Kal, Mala'aktha, Ibad Ha, La'a, the Aishawa, verse 9. Waya Debar Yahweh al Mashal La Amar, verse 10. Debar al Banya Yasha Alam, Wa Amartha, Alaham, Kaya, it's like Kaya, Thabawa, Al, Ha'arataza, Ashar, Anya, it's like Anya, Nathan, Lakam, Wakwatazar, it's like Wakwatazar Thumb, Ath, Kwatazayara, Wahaba, it's like a Wahaba Athum, Ath, Imar, Ra'ash, it's like a Ra'ash Yath, Kwatazar Yakam, it's like Al, it's like Al, Hakahan, verse 11, Wahana Yap, Ath, Ha'imar, Lapanya Yahweh, Laratazar Nakam, Mama Kartha, Mama Kartha, Hashabath, Yanya Panyawa, Hakahan, verse 12, Wa Aisha Yatham, Bayawam, Hanaya Pakam, Ath, Ha'imar, Salaki Kabash, Thamayam, Ban, Shanathwa, La'ila, La Yahweh, verse 13, Wamana Kathwa, Shanya, Ashar Nayam, Salath, Balawala, Bashaman, it's like Ashah, La Yahweh, Rayak, Wayakak, Wanasakwa, Yayan, Rabaya Rabayath, Hahayan, verse 14, Walakam, Wakwal Ya, Wakar Mal, La'a, Tha'akal Wa, Id, Itazum, Hayawam, Hazaha, Id, Habaya Akam, Ath, Kwarbun, Alahayakam, Kakwath, Iwalam, Ladarathikam, Bakal, Bakal, Mashabathikam. All right, so that was verses 8 through 14 in the Hebrew. We'll read those in the English.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. 7 days, in the seventh day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 9. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord, to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. Verse 12. And ye shall offer that day, when ye wave the sheaf, of an he-lamb, when ye wave the sheaf and he-lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord. Verse 13. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the fourth part of an hin. And ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
All right, we're going to read the next 7 verses in the Hebrew. So verses 15 through 21 in the Hebrew, beginning with verse 15. What's a par thumb, lakam, mama karath, hashabath, mayawam, habaya kam, ath, imar, hathana wapa, shabai, shabath wath, thamayamtha, thahaya na, verse 16, id, mama kartha, hashabath, hashabaya aitha, Thasaparwa, Kamashim, Yawam, Wahakorab Thumb, Manaka, Kadasha, La Yahweh, verse 17, Mama, Mawas Shabbath Yakam, Tabaya Awar, Lakam, Lakam, Thanawapa, Shathayam, Shanya, Ashar Nayam, Ilath, Salath, Tha'ayana, Kamataza, Tha'apa Yana, Bakawaryam La Yahweh, verse 18, Wahakwar, Wahakorab, Thumb, Isle, Halakam, Shabaitha, Kabashyam, Thamayam Ma, Banya, Shana Wapar, Bun, Bakwar, Akar, Wa'ayalam, Shanyam, Yahayawa, Ila, La Yahweh, Wamanaka, Thumb, Wanasak Yaham, Asha, Rayak, Nayakak, La Yahweh, verse 19, Wa'aisha, Yatham, Sha'ayar, Azayam, Akar, Lakata, Lakata Av, Washanya, Salaki, Washanya, Kabash Yum, Banya, Shana, Lazabak, Shalama Yum, verse 20. Wahana Yap, Pakahan, Atham, Aw, Lakam, Habakawa, Habakawar, Yum, Thanawapa, Lapanya, Yahweh, Aw, Shanya, Kabashim, Kodash, Yahayawa, La Yahweh, Lakahan, verse 21. Wakwara Thumb, Ba'itazam, Hayawam, Hazaha, Makwara, excuse me, Makwara, Kodash, Yahaya, Lakam, Call. Damn, Salaki, where was I at? Where was I at? Let me see. Yahaya, Lakam, Call, Mala Akath, Mala Aktha, Ibada, La'a, Ta'ashawa, Salaki, Kakwath, Iwalam, Bakal, Mawa Shabbath Yakum, Ladorath Yakum. All right, so that was verses 8. I'm slacking. Verses 15 through 21. Read those in the English.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheep of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord. Verse 18. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, even an offering made by fire, of sweet savor unto the Lord. Verse 19. Then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings. Verse 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord. With the 2 lambs they shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. Verse 21. And ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations.
All right, so we're going to read verses 22 through 28 in the Hebrew, beginning with verse 22. Wabakwatazar come, Ath, Kwatazayar, Aratazar come, La'a, Thakala, Pa'ath, Shadak, Bakwatazar ka, Walakwat, Kwatazayarka, La'a, Thalakwat, La'anya, Walagar, Ta'izab, Atham, Anya, Yahweh, Alahayakum, verse 23, Wayadabar, Yahweh, Al Mashal, La'amar, verse 24, Dabar, Al Banya, Yashar Allah, La'amar, Bakadash, Hashabaya Ayah, Hashabaya Ayah, Ba'akar, Ba'akad, Lakadash, Yahaya, Lakam, Shabbath 1, Zakar 1, Tharawai, Makorah, Kodash, verse 25, Kal, Mala Aktha, Ibada, La'a, Tha'ishawa, Waha Karatham, Asha, Asha, verse what's like La Yahweh, verse 26. Waya Debar Yahweh al Masha La Amar, verse 27. Aka, Ba'aisha War, La Kadash, Hashab Ya'aya, Hazahar, Yawam, Hakaparyam, Hawa'ah, Makorah, Kodash, Yahaya, Lakam, Wa'ain, it's like it, Wa'ain Yatham, Av, Napashath, Yakam, Wahakorab Thum, Asha, La Yahweh, verse 28, Wakal, Mala'aka, La'ah, the Aishawa, Ba'aitazam, Hayawam, Hazaha, Kaya, Yawam, Kaparyam, Hawa'ah, La Kapar, Al Yakam, Lapanya, Yahweh, Allah Yakam. All right, that was verses 22 through 28. Read the next, I just like to read that in English.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 22. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest. Neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God. Verse 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Verse 25. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Verse 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
All right, so we're going to read now verses 29 through 35. All right, in the Hebrew. Let's see where we at. 29. Beginning with verse 29. Kaya, Kal, Hanapash, Ashar, La'ah, Tha'aina, Ba'aitazam, Hayawam, Hazaha, Wanakartha, Ma'aim, it's like a Ma'aim Ya, verse 30. Wakal, Hanapash, Ashar, Tha'aisha, Kal, Mala'aka, Ba'aitazam, it's like a Ba'aitazam, Hayawam, Hazaha, Wahabat, it's like a Wahabat Thaya, Af, Hanapash, Hawa'ah, Makorab, Ima, verse 31. Call, Mala'aka, La'ah, Tha'aishawa, Kakwath, Iwalam, Ladarathicum, Bakal, Mashabathicum, verse 32. Shabbath, Shabbath 1, Hawa'ah, Lakam, Wa'aniya, it's like a Wa'anaya Thumb, Af, Napash Thayakam, Napashath Yakam, Salaki, Bathashai, Lakadash, Ba'irab, Salaki, Ba'irab, Ma'irab, I'll, that's like an I, Irab, Thashabathwa, Shabbath come, verse 33, Waya Debar Yahweh al Mashah La Amar, verse 34, Debar al Banya Yasha'ala La Amar, Bahashakam, it's like a Bahasham, Salaki, Bakamasha, Ashar, Yawam, Lakadash, Hashabaya Aya, Hazaha, Kaga, Hasaka, it's like it. Hasakawaf, Shabaitha, Yamayam, La Yahweh, verse 35, by Yawam, Hara'ash 1, Makorah, Kodash, Kal, Mala'aktha, Ibadha, or it's like Ibadah, La'ah, Tha'aishawa. All right. verses 29 through 35. Read those in English.
It's the book of Leviticus. It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 29. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls.
Right.
In the 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even, ye shall celebrate your Sabbath. Verse 33. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. Verse 35. On the first day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
All right. So that was verses 29 through 35. Now we're going to read 36 through 42 in the Hebrew. All right. Beginning with verse 36. Shabaitha Yamayam Takwar Yabwa Hasha La Yahweh by Yawam Hashamayanya Makora Kodash Yahaya Lakam Wakorab Thumb Asha La Yahweh Atazaroth Hawa'ah Kaya. It's like a call. Mala'aktha Ibada La'ah Tha'aishawa. Verse 37. Allah. It's like Allah. Mawa'ida Yahweh Ashar Thaqwa Atham Makwar Kodash Lahakwar Yab Asha La Yahweh Allah Wamanaka Zabak Wanasaya Come. It's like it Wanasakyum the bar Yawam by Yawamwa. Verse 38. Malabad Shabbath. It's like it Shabbatha Yahweh it's like a Wamalabad Mathana Wath Yakam Wamalabad call Nadar. It's like a Nadar Yakam Wamalabad call Salakia call it's like it Nadab Wath Yakam Ashar Thathan. It's like it Thathanawa La Yahweh. Verse 39. Aka Bakamasha Aishar Yawam Lakadash Hashab Ya'aya. So like Hashab Ya'aya Bahasa Pakyum Ath Thabawa'ath. It's like a Ha'aratazar Thakagawa Ath Kaga Yahweh Shabaitha Yamayam Bayawam Hara Slaki Hara Ash 1 Shabbath 1 Wabaya 1 Slaki Wabaya 1 Hashamayan Ya Shabbath Ya. It's like a Shabbath 1 verse 40. Walakwak Thumb Lakam Bayawam Hara Ash 1 Par Ya Aitaza Hadar Kapath Thamar Slaki Thamar Yum Wa I not Aitaza Ibath Wa I Rab Ya Slaki Nakal Washamak Thumb Lapan Ya Yahweh Alahayakum Shabaitha Yamayam, verse 41. Wakagathama, Salakia, Adwa, Kaga La Yahweh, Shabaitha Yamayam, Bashana, Kakwath, Iwalam, Salakia, Ladarathukam, Bakadash, Hashab Ya'aya, Thakagawa, Thakagwa, Athwa, verse 42, Basakath, Thashabwa, Shabaitha Yamayam Kal, Ha'azarak, Bayasha Allah, Yeshabwa, Basakath. That was up to 42. Those same verses. What was that 36 to 42? 36 to 42. We'll read that in English.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 36. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day. Verse 38. Beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto the Lord, also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Verse 40. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths.
That's 42. We're going to read the last two verses in the Hebrew, then we'll break it down in English. Beginning with verse 43. Lama'ain, Yadaiwa, Darathi Kam, Kaya, Basakawath, Hawashab Thaya, Ath, Banya Yasha Allah, Baharataza Ya Aya, Awatham, Ma'arataza, Matazar Yam, Anya Yahweh, Allahayakam, verse 44, Waya Dabar, it's like Waya Dabar, Masha Ath, Ma'idya Yahweh, Al Banya Yasha Allah. All right. Go ahead and read that in English, Bible Shah.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 43. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord.
Get a Lord a hand, y'all. Good. All right, as we all know, today is the closing of the 7-day feast of unleavened bread. All right, tonight is the closing. All right, and so of course, as we as our custom is in Israel, on every feast day we read over the entire law of the feast days, which you find in Leviticus the 23rd chapter. That's what we just did. Let's break some of this down before we get to the food. All right, so let's go back into the beginning of this first, because what we got to do is we have to understand why we do these things. The Lord, I've said this time and time again, the Lord is not a vain God. He doesn't have us do these things for no reason. You understand? It's not a vain thing that we just went 7 days without eating any leavening, any pizza, any burger, hamburgers, or whatever the case. You understand? It's not for no reason that we just did that. And we're going to break it down. But one thing I do want to point out before I get to breaking down the Feast of Unleavened Bread is this here. I need you to give me, let's see, give me verse 4.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations.
So the first thing we want to understand about every feast that we celebrate in the ISUPK is that these are the feasts of the Lord. You understand? Now, of course, we understand that the white man just had his Easter. What was it, last Sunday? Yeah, I think they call it Easter Sunday. So I think it's Sunday. They just had the Easter. They're going to have Mother's Day. I think it's coming up real soon. Father's Day. All of these different holidays and traditions that they have. Those are man's feasts. And we don't keep any of those. Y'all understand that. We don't keep none of those. But we do keep these. We keep the Lord's feasts. And they don't belong to Moses. I know sometimes what people like to do, they like to say, well, that's the law of Moses, and those are the feasts of Moses. We ain't got to do that no more, but that's not the case. These are the laws and the feasts that come directly from the Most High. That's number one, but keep reading.
Which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Which ye shall what?
Proclaim in their seasons.
I want everybody to understand that the ISUPK is the only group that has the dates accurate and correct to celebrate these things. We're the only ones that celebrated Passover on the day that we celebrated Passover, which in the white man's Gregorian calendar was April 15th. We're the only ones that did it. Every other group, they went and did it on another day. The Most High told us to celebrate his Passover in its season. There's only one day that we're supposed to keep that Passover. You understand? That's important. And that's the same reason why today is important, because we closing out the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Imagine if, we got it wrong and we close out the Feast of Unleavened Bread 2 more days from now. We'd be sinning against the Most High because we would start eating unleavened bread tonight. And it wasn't over for 2 more days. So being in season is extremely important. I wanted to point that out because I did notice it was a lot of these other Israelite groups, a lot of these cats, that's, they had their Passover a month ago or, 2-3 weeks ago. You understand? But there's only one Passover and only one of us can be right. And y'all sitting in here, y'all watching online. So I'm assuming that y'all believe that we right. And I have a secret for you. We are. We're the only ones that are right. You understand? So let's go ahead and break down the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because we did this whole 7-day feast. If you could give me 1 Corinthians, give me the book of 1 Corinthians. I'll get there with you. 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. I broke a lot of this down on Wednesday, but I think it's important that we do it today as well, just so we can understand what this feast is about. Like I said just about 2 minutes ago, this is not about, the Lord just having us do some vain thing. Like the Day of Atonement isn't about us just suffering for a day for no reason. There's a spiritual aspect to it. The same reason why we got to go 7 days without eating unleavened bread, right? Let's get 1 Corinthians 5 and verse 7.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 7. Purge out, therefore, the old leaven.
See, this is Paul speaking, and Paul said to do what?
Purge out, therefore, the old leaven.
The old leaven. So now this leavening that we see in this Feast of Unleavened Bread, there's a spiritual aspect to it. There's a reason why we're doing this thing. And Paul is breaking it down. He said, purge out, therefore, the old leaven. Keep going.
That ye may be a new lump.
That ye may be a what?
A new lump.
A new lump. Now, if you know anything about, baking or making bread or anything like that, the leavening agents that you put into that bread, you roll up into that dough. And that, of course, allows that dough to rise when you bake it or when you cook it, right? But Paul is saying this. He's saying purge out, meaning get rid of the old leaven. Get rid of that leavening, right? That you may be a new lump. The leaven represents being puffed up. That's what it represents, right? We in the same chapter we can read that that's what it represents. That leavening represents is being puffed up, being full of yourself, thinking that you think you got it going on. You think you know what life is about. You think you don't have to keep the law. The same person that you were before you came into the truth is basically what having leaven is, right? Before you came into the truth, you thought you could eat pork. Before you came into the truth, you thought it wasn't no big deal. If I have sex with this man's wife. You thought it wasn't no big deal if I kick in this man's door. The only thing I'm worried about is the police, but I'm not worried about the Most High. Like that's what that being puffed up is, and that's that leavening that you got to get rid of. When you come into the truth, you have to get rid of all of that. You can no longer be that old man. Of course, like I said on this last Wednesday, right? When you come in here, when you get anointed with that oil, what do we say? this person is no longer such and such from the world, but this person is now, new insert Hebrew name here. You understand? Because you're no longer that bastard that you were, that bitch that you were in the world. And you have to remember that. And that's what the Feast of Unleavened Bread is here to remind you about, to remind you that there was a person that you were before you came into the truth that you're no longer allowed to be anymore. You understand? And we're going to get some proof of that. Keep going.
As ye are unleavened, for even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us.
Right. Christ, our Passover. Now, of course, as we all understand, Passover and a Feast of Unleavened Bread go hand in hand. Why? Because we can understand with the Exodus coming out of the land of Egypt, the Passover came, and immediately after that, we ran off and we had to eat unleavened bread because we didn't have time for the bread to rise. You understand? So those things go hand in hand. And Paul is saying that Christ is our Passover, which is the same reason why we don't go slaughter a lamb and hang and put the blood on our doorposts anymore. Because now Christ is that lamb spiritually, right? But keep reading.
Verse 8, therefore, let us keep the feast not with old leaven.
So now this is important, and this is what we should always remember when we keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread, or really any feast at all, right? We in the truth, so we have to remember that, right? But specifically with the Feast of Unleavened Bread, let us keep the feast not with old leaven, meaning there should be no, when you in this truth, there should be no traces of that old man or that old woman. It should be gone. And I understand that's hard. A lot of us, it takes years for us to perfect that thing, but it has to get done. You must focus on perfecting that. Otherwise, you're disobeying what Paul said. You're disobeying what Christ said. You understand? You have to keep the feast, not with old leaven, not being that same person that you were. Keep going.
Neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness.
Neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness. This is proof that leaven isn't just talking about bread. This is talking about something spiritual. You cannot go into this feast and be in this truth. Call yourself, oh, I'm a daughter of God. I'm a son of God. I'm an Israelite. I keep the law. But you are a malicious person, a wicked person. And that maliciousness, it can look like many things. You understand? You hating your brother. You hating your sister. You have an ill will towards your brother or your sister. You cannot have any of those things in this truth. You're going to have to get rid of it. And if you can't do that, then you shouldn't be keeping these feasts. It's straight. It's that simple. If you can't be brotherly, be sisterly, if you can't make sure that you conduct yourself properly, then you shouldn't be keeping any of these things. You should work on yourself first. And that's what people say. I got to work on myself. Well, you maybe should actually do that before you try to keep a holy feast of the Lord, because Paul said, let us not keep it with old leaven. You understand? We're going to have to come into this thing unleavened, meaning not puffed up, not that old man. Keep going.
But with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
So we have to keep it not with with the malice, the maliciousness and the wickedness, but we're going to have to keep it with sincerity and truth. You're going to have to keep these feasts as the new person, not the old person, not that wicked nigga that came out of the world and not that bitch that came out of the world. You're going to have to be a new brother, a new sister. Completely. Otherwise, you shouldn't even keep the feast. And I said the same thing. Well, I said it earlier, right? I said the same thing earlier. Y'all think we say these things and we just be joking. No, I'm serious. You shouldn't even be in the truth. And y'all might think that's wicked to say, but that's scriptural. You should not even be in the truth. You should just eat all of the pork you want. Do whatever you want. Not ever keep a feast day ever again if you're not going to do it all. Because don't the Bible say if you offend in one point, you offended in all? So if you don't know how to be brotherly, be sisterly, then you might as well just eat pork. It's that simple. So you're gonna have to keep the feast. You're gonna have to keep the feast not with that old leaven, but with what? With the unleavened bread of sincerity and with truth. Let's get another one. Give me Matthew the 16th chapter. Matthew the 16th chapter. We're gonna talk about Christ now because Christ also taught the same thing, of course, that Paul taught. Right? Matthew 16. We're gonna start at verse 6.
Book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 6. Then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
Now, this is important because this is Christ speaking, and Christ is saying, he's speaking to his disciples. And if anybody knows about, Christ and his disciples, Christ taught his disciples, just like you could say, like Commander General Yohana teaches us, or like General Muhammad teaches us. It was constantly Christ teaching the disciples, right? They were students of the Most High, of Christ, right? And so Christ is saying unto his disciples, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Once again, like I said earlier, this leaven is spiritual. It's not just talking about, a piece of bread, a piece of Wonder Bread. It's not just about that, right? And we're going to see what it's talking about. Keep going.
Verse 7. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread.
So now the disciples, they didn't quite understand what Christ was saying. And that wasn't uncommon, right? Because Christ always said something that nobody understood. When he said, drink my blood and eat my flesh, everybody was like, hey, this nigga is off. I'm done. He had thousands of people following him. And when he said that, everybody left except for the 12. You understand? Because he said things that sounded outlandish if you didn't wait around and stick around for a response or an explanation or a breakdown. So the disciples is like, well, I guess what he's talking about is the fact that we haven't taken any bread, right? Keep going.
Verse 8, which when Yahushua perceived, he said unto them.
So Yahushua heard it. Yahushua heard them talking amongst themselves, and Yahushua heard them not understanding anything that he just said. They trying to come up with their own interpretation, which is important also for y'all to understand. You should never try to come up with your own interpretation of anything. If you don't know, you should ask. And that's what these brothers should have done. And Yahushua about to cut them. Go ahead.
O ye of little faith.
He said, oh, ye of little faith. Why? Because they thought they knew what they was talking about. They thought they knew what they was talking about in trying to break down what Christ said regarding that leaven with the Sadducees and Pharisees. But let's see what Christ says. Go ahead.
Why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not yet understand?
He said, do you not yet understand? Christ is asking them, do you not yet understand what I'm talking about? Keep going.
Neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up. Verse 10. Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up. How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? So
this is Christ basically saying, you've seen everything that happened. Y'all remember when it was them, what was it, like 3 fish and 5 loaves of bread that fed thousands of people? The disciples was there and witnessed that. And Christ is trying to call them to remember that. Y'all don't remember what y'all saw me do? He said, how is it then that you do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread? Meaning, how do y'all not understand that I'm speaking in a parable to y'all? You understand? Because that's the way Christ spoke. And the disciples had been around Christ so long, Christ was expecting them to be able to understand the parable, right? But he's going to break it down to them anyway because these brothers just didn't understand, right? Go ahead.
Verse 12. Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread. So he said, so now the disciples, they understand this isn't about bread. This isn't about the leaven of bread. Keep going. But of the doctrine.
But of the what?
The doctrine.
One more time.
The doctrine.
But of the doctrine, go ahead.
Of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
That's what the leaven is. So when we keep this feast is not about, going without pizza for a week. It's not about not having a cheeseburger for a week or being able to eat that Wonder Bread. All of those, I know so many things they sneak leaven into. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's a demon that comes on all of us damn near. I would say, I'll speak for myself. I be wanting pizza like hell when the Feast of Unleavened comes around. Unleavened bread come around. You understand? Because I can't have it. It's usually what happens, you understand? General Muhammad said it, so now I'm free. I know I can say it now. But point being, right, is that it's deeper than just going without those things for a week. It's really about you purging out that old leaven, not being like the Sadducees and Pharisees. We all understand the Sadducees and Pharisees were lawless. They claimed to have kept the law, right? Then they claimed to keep the law and claimed to push the law. They would stone you to death if they found out you was committing adultery. But what was they doing behind closed doors? Committing adultery. That was happening. You understand? They were doing things that were unlawful. They were not honoring their mother and their father. There's scriptures on that, right? So the point is, you don't want to be like them. What they are is a hypocrite. And that's what you cannot be. And the Feast of Unleavened Bread comes around every single year, the same time of year, to remind you that you're not allowed to be a hypocrite. Right? When you come into this truth and you take that oath and you get that oil poured on your head, you can no longer be the old man, the old woman. It's very detrimental to you to try to be. You understand? Because a lot of times what happens is that leaven starts to creep back up in you. And you start to act and, behave like that old person. But you're going to have to check yourself. Otherwise, like I said, it's to your own detriment. Let's get another scripture real quick, a precept. Probably. We'll close out with this. Give me 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. Second Corinthians 5. What do I got? 17. Yeah, I think we'll do 2 Corinthians 5 and 17.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature.
He is a what?
A new creature.
So if you are in Christ, meaning you follow Christ and you follow the Most High, you become a new creature. And that's literal. That's absolutely literal. Now, are you gonna form? Are you gonna transform into a new body? Absolutely not. But I can tell you this: when you come into this truth and you get anointed with that oil, you become an absolutely new person. You're no longer the person that has had sex with all the men. You're no longer that man that murdered all of them other men. You're no longer that man that has sex with other men's wives. You're no longer the homosexual, the drug dealer, the drug user. You're no longer that at all. Because the scriptures say this. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it right quick. I'll just pull it. You ain't got to hold it up. Just hold on to what you got. I'm going to just pull it right quick. Because in the book of Ezekiel, it gives you the most perfect breakdown of this, right? Ezekiel, the 33rd chapter, right? 33 and 14 says, again, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die. If he turn from his sin and do that which is lawful and right, if the wicked restore the pledge and give again that he hath robbed, walk in the statutes of life, without committing iniquity, he shall surely live, he shall not die. None of his sins that he hath committed shall be mentioned unto him. And that's what y'all want to remember. When you come into this truth, none of the sins that you committed in that life before exist at all. Once again, you're not the murderer. You understand? You're not the slut. You're not the whore. You're not the whoremonger. You're none of those things anymore. Now you become a new person. You have to hold on to that. And that's what this feast is about. The Feast of Unleavened Bread is about you holding on to that new person and never forget. Never going back to that old person. That's what this is about. So we're going to eat tonight. We're going to get down. But just everybody should always remember that that's what this is about. And we got to keep that throughout the year. You understand? Keep that zeal that we got and never let go of it. Because one thing that I've examined in this truth, there have been brothers that have been in here for 30, 40 years that left. So, how long you been in here? It don't mean nothing. The Most High can make you a reprobate at any time. You should always fight for this truth. That's why the scriptures say, strive for the truth unto death. You got to never stop fighting. So with that being said, you have to make sure that you never go back to that old person that you was. But with that being said, everybody, I imagine which means to stand. While Panyak was done, we're going to turn and face the east. We'll close out with the prayers. Beginning with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemaya, Kodah, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malak with Ka, Saba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayu, Nathalanawa, Makam, Call Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawatinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Wanasai one, Abal, Hawashai now, Mayan, Raikaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wathapara, I will love you. Amen. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. The akak, the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Babu Kushai, Mathala Nawa Hakak, Hakak Larapa'ah, Kal Maka'ala, Wakal Madawa, Hakak Latahar, Hamatazariah, Hakak Lakwayam, Hamathu, Hakak Arakawa, Hatama'ala, Lagar Shun, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Wadaman. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power. The power to heal all manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahaharya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'aratazah, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yaminka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Rai, Yashamar, Adnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'afka, Wabah, Wa'aka, Ma'aitha, Wa'ai, Awallah. In the English, Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasha'Allah shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out, and thy coming in, from this time forth, and even forevermore. Psalms the 83rd chapter. In the Hebrew, Alahayo, Aldama Yalaka, Al Thakarash, Wa Al Thashakwat, Al Kayahana, Awayagika, Yahamaya 1, Ra'ash, Al Aimaka, Yaira Yamwa, Sawada, Wayatha, Yaitazawa, Al Tazapawanyaka, Amarwa, Lakawa, Wanakakidam, Magalia, Wala'a, Yazakar, Sham Yasha'Allah, Iwada, Kaya, Nawa Aitazawa, Laba, Yakadwa, Alyaka, Baryat, Yakarathwa, Ahalya, Adawam, Wayashama Aliyah, Mawa Abba, Wahagarya, Gabal, Waima 1, Waima Lak, Kalashah, I'm Yeshabia, Tazawar, Gam Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarwai, Labanya Lawat, Salah, Ashalaham, Kamadyan, Kasaya, Sara'ah, Kayabyan, Manakal, Kwayashwan, Nashamagwa, Ba'ayan, Da'ara, Hayawa, Daman, La'adama, Shayathamwa, Nadab, Yabmawa, Ka'ira, Wakaza Abba, Wakaza Bak, Wakazazal, Mana'ai, Call, Nasaya, Kamwa, Ashar, Amarwa, Naya Rasha, Lanawa, Ath, Na'awath, Alahaya, Alahaya, Shayathamwa, Kagalgala, Kakwash, Lapanya Raka, Ka'ash, Thaba'ira, Ya'ira, Wakala Thalahat, Haryam, Khan, Tharadapma, Basa'iraka, Wabasa, Wapathka, Thabahalam, Mala'a, Panyaham, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawah, Yabashwa, Wayabahawa, Ayai, Wayakaparwa, Wayabadwa, Wayadaiwa, Kayatha, Shamka, Yahawah, Labadka, Al Yawan, Al Kal, Al Ratazah. Psalms the 83rd chapter in English. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo,
thine
enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
Come,
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
And let us cut them off from being a nation.
That the name of Yasha'Allah
That the name of Yasha'Allah
may be no more remembrance.
may be no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites.
Of Moab.
Of Moab.
And the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes.
Gabal.
Gabal.
And Ammon. And Amalek.
And Amalek.
The Philistines. With the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
Assur also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of
They
Lot.
have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of
The
Kasan.
brook of Kasan.
Which perished that endured.
Which perished that endured.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
And like Zeel.
And like Zeel.
Yea,
Yea.
all their princes as Zabah.
All their princes as Zabah.
And as Almunah.
And as Almunah.
Who said,
Let
us take to ourselves
us take to ourselves
the houses of Yahweh
the houses of Yahweh
in possession.
in possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As the stubble before the wind.
As they stumble before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
And as the flame setteth the mountains on
And
fire.
as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name.
That they may seek thy name.
O
O
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
That men may know that thou,
That men may know that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
are the most high over all the earth.
art the most high over all the earth.
The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Alahayo.
Wa Alahayo.
Wa Tazab Ya'ah.
Wa Tazab Ya'ah.
Allah Wap Yahada.
Allah Wap Yahada.
Ha Allah Wapyu.
Ha Allah Wap.
Ha Soranyu.
Ha Soranyu.
Ha Kwatazayanyu.
Ha Kwatazayanyu.
Ha Kaya Yayu.
Ha Kaya Yayu.
Wa Ha Gwathia.
Wa Ha Gwathia.
Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh.
Ba Shem Yahweh Shai.
Ba Shem Yahweh Shai.
The Wad Aman.
For what Aman.
The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yohanan.
Commanding General Yohanan.
The generals.
The general.
The captains.
The captain.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it.
All right, sorry. Sisters can be seated. Men of Israel, we're going to give each other a courtesy salute to salute out the Sabbath service. I mean, it's like to salute out this feast day. Men of Israel, Imam Shabbat. Imagine, Barak, Yahweh, Shem, Yahweh, Shai, Barakathon. Side towards the sisters. Sisters, Imagine. Going to give the sisters a courtesy salute to close out this feast day. Men of Israel, Imagine, Shabbat. Imagine, Barak, Yahweh, Shema, Allah, Thun, Shem, Yahweh, Shai. Yahweh Matai. Feast dismissed.